Morning. Great to be back with you again. I'd like to call the January 13th, 2021 Planning and Zoning meeting to order. Would you please stand and participate in this Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. May I have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Jacks?
Here.
Commissioner Kelly? Commissioner Meal? Commissioner Martin? Commissioner Abbott?
Here.
Commissioner Alexander?
Here.
Commissioner Morse?
Here.
And Commissioner Gillette? Here. We have a quorum.
Thank you. We're going to take a couple moments for an automated message, please.
Anyone who has not signed in, please do so at the table located in the lobby. Should anyone who has
Did he hear? Yeah. No automated message. Okay. Well, if I could remember what it said, I'd repeat it, but I can't. Today, the Planning and Zoning Commission will hear public testimony and then forward a recommendation to the Board of Supervisors. The items with a recommendation made by the Commission will be heard by the Board of Supervisors on Monday, February 1st, 2021 at 9:30 a.m., the same location, with exception of any continued items. We'll move on to the motion to approve meeting minutes of December 9th, 2021.
Make a motion that we approve the minutes from the December 9th meeting.
I'll second.
We have a motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item number 1.
Item number 1 is an evaluation of request for a rezone of a portion of Assessor's Parcel Number 402-63222 from an AR Agricultural Residential Zone to a C2H Highway Commercial Zone to allow for a storage facility in the Beaverbam vicinity. We have received one letter of opposition. Staff recommends approval with standard conditions.
Thank you. We're going to open it for a public hearing. Is the applicant available? Not seeing any hands. Anybody wish to opine on this subject?
Mr. Chair,
Sir.
just to mention, we did receive one letter of opposition on this item.
Correct. Yeah. Nobody wishes to say anything?
Mr. Chairman,
Please.
do we know what the opposition was?
Yeah, the letter was in the packet that you received.
And there is also a copy of the letter in your...
Yeah, there's a copy in
today.
the paperwork too. Well, if nobody else has anything, I do have a couple of comments on the application. It is next to a residential area, and I think we should assure the adjacent property owner that all due consideration to his development or his interest will be taken when the site plan review takes place, including such items as proper screening, illumination control so that it doesn't spread outside of his boundaries, aesthetics. There's nothing we can do about obscuring his view or anything like that. I mean, that's not our position. There are no view ordinances with regard to adjacent structures and stuff. That's all I had. Do I hear a motion?
I have a question for staff. Did this letter have any impact or give you any reason to change your recommendation?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Abbott, as far as planning and zoning is concerned, it meets our requirements for it's along a county highway, which is where we would place a C2H zoned property. It also is in compliance with the general plan. The general plan currently is general commercial. And so that's the plan that we have for this property in the future anyways. Therefore, a rezone to a C2H highway commercial is exactly what it would be proposed to go to in the future anyways.
Thank you.
Thank you. Call for motion.
I'll make a motion to approve per staff recommendation.
I'll second.
We have a motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 2, evaluation of a rezone for assessor's parcel 310-16-026 and 310-19-156 from AD Airport Development to MSD Manufacturing Special Development Zone to allow for a soil conditioning and fumigation products distribution facility and for the storage and distribution of flammable and hazardous materials in the Kingman vicinity, west of Olympic Way and north of Finance Way. Mojave County, Arizona, KTH Consultants, on behalf of Peacock Range Investments. Mr. Hunter.
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, so staff would recommend approval given that the allowed uses would be all of the uses and limitations of the AD and the airport development zone. The additional uses would be that would be allowed are the storage and distribution of flammable liquids and gases and bulk fuels for sale or distribution, and the manufacturing, storage, or distribution of hazardous chemicals or materials would also be allowed. We would have a maximum capacity on the storage tanks for the purpose of storing flammable liquids and gases, bulk fuels, and hazardous chemicals or materials at 20,000 gallons per tank, with a maximum of 18 storage tanks per allowed at any one time. Otherwise, standard conditions would apply.
Thank you. Open the meeting for public hearings. Is the applicant available? Kathy, would you come forward, please?
Commissioners, my name is Kathy Tackett-Hicks. I'm acting as the owner and the developer's agent in this matter. This is a request by TriCal to develop a distribution facility here for the soil management chemicals. And what that is currently serves about 90% of the agricultural development of California. So these products help to destroy and control soil-borne diseases. So that's what that is. They also serve California and Nevada. This site was selected because of the rail and transportation distribution location and facilities that we have. We're familiar with the airport and taking on the same site that used to be housed by Honeywell, which also had highly flammable and toxic materials on the site. So the site is set up. All the uses are appropriate for the AD development. Regulations. I think this will be a great benefit for the airport. Wanted to answer any questions. Thank you.
Do we have any questions of the applicant?
Glad to see you looking healthy.
For a while.
I do have a question, and that is, what are the primary transportation modes for the delivery and distribution?
So the product comes from, according to the gentleman that I spoke with, and I did take a site visit with their existing manufacturing outside in Mojave, and I was impressed with the efficiency and specificity of their product and how they have to do this. But the product comes from the Texas seasons or outside of that. They would anticipate, I think 2 to 10 rail cars in their slow months going in at night, and maybe up to 1 to 2 per product, and then we have 2 products at this site during the busy season. So this site, I just want to add one more item here. It has an existing rail that goes right to the middle, which is good. We are working with the railroad to put in another switch so they can have another spur on site. One is to hold the cars ready for storage, the other one is for unloading. They do plan on building another building there to, for their efforts to store the product in the steel canisters, which is what goes out to their clients, so that people that purchase these items. All of those, I mean, it's a highly regulated business. We'll work directly with the fire department out there, the canisters and everything with the 18-wheel trucks. It's all regulated by the federal Department of Transportation.
Yeah.
It's pretty slick operation.
What would be their general service area for distribution?
Well, this one, because we're currently just located in California, this one would be much better served in Nevada and Arizona.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions?
I have a question for Kathy. Will the railroad spur that's already in at the airport be utilized by them?
It will be. So there's one that goes right down the middle of this site, their property, and they're just gonna add another switch and have, another little lane right there on site so they can store the incoming rails while they're loading it in. That's their plan right now.
Another question I have for staff. Those photos that are shown there, I don't see anything looking like that out at the airport.
Anywhere?
I thought the same thing, Bill, but those are taken from the outside corners of this location. I think.
Well, they're the same.
Right on Olympia.
They're the same pictures that's shown for item 1. I've been looking at that airport for 35 years.
I know.
I haven't seen those sites.
They are the same
I
photos.
think it's just a mistake.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair,
to me.
it might be in is our packet different than the, yeah. So if you wanted to throw it back up on the projector, we have the right photos in the slideshow.
Yeah.
Looks like the
There you go.
photos for the packet were the wrong, or were for the first item.
Well, that's not an issue with me, but I just wondered if you had correct pictures.
Thank you.
There are existing buildings and, facilities on this site. I'm sure you know that, Bill.
Yes, thank you. Anybody else would like to speak on the topic?
Mr. Chairman, I have a question. Did you say that there was a building there previously that
There-
was being used for the same thing, or?
Yeah, there's existing buildings, and it looks like loading and unloading structures, platforms out there that they use for the rails. I say that because I saw the same type of development at the Tri-Cal location in Mojave, and it was utilized by Honeywell. I don't know when they vacated the site, but those structures and buildings are still there.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Kathy. Again, is there anybody else who would like to speak on the topic? Okay, I'd like to close the public hearing. Does any other commissioner questions? Thank you. We'll call for a motion.
Make a motion for approval per staff recommendation.
Second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 3, evaluation of amendment to the Mojave County zoning ordinance, section 37V is in Victor, medical marijuana to allow for recreational dispensaries in accordance with the revised statutes. Matthew, excuse me.
Chairman, Commissioners, so item number 3, we're looking to update our section of the ordinance that used to pertain just to medical marijuana dispensaries, but with the recent vote and changes in state statutes, we're updating that. In your packet, you'll notice that is loud. The items that we're removing are being struck, and then the items we're adding are bolded and double underlined. For the most part, we're just changing where it says medical marijuana to say marijuana establishments, and then have the updated references to the new state statutes. And then also in section 6, we changed C and D of section 6 to just to be more clear on which zones you can have either a marijuana establishment or a grow facility. Staff recommends approval.
Thank you. We'll open the public hearing on this. Is there anybody in the audience who would like to speak on this? Please come forward and state your name and address.
My name is Ken Works. I live in the Yucca area. About 1 mile to the west of my property, there's an industrial hemp farm. It's something that's been approved by the Senate. Sonny Borelli was working hard on approving those hemp farms out in that area. There hasn't been any problems with them, but it's hard to discern what's going on over there. They've got lights going on into the night for what appears to be greenhouses, but I can't really discern anything going on outside of the greenhouses, any cultivation or anything like that. But there's people there all the time running generators and going on with the farming activities, whatever they may be. But I don't have any pros or cons. I just wanted to let you know that there is already hemp farms in the area in progress at this point. They started out with 3 in my area, and now they're down to 2 facilities that I'm aware of. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who would like to speak on it? Okay, we're going to close the public hearing. Is there any commissioner comments?
I have a question for staff. I think you've answered it. But what you're changing here is just to bring it into conformance for what, proposition something that passed recently? What was that proposition number?
207.
Pardon?
207.
Let's just bring it into, so we don't have much choice. I was at a meeting just recently where one of the people from the police department spoke, and he's very concerned about the fallouts of what's going to happen because of this. Not what we're talking about here today.
Thank you. I have a couple of comments. One of them being I've worked for several of these in both California and Arizona, and developing the facilities and whatnot. My only concern is they're very good at security. They're very good at keeping their site well preserved and well maintained. However, their odor control is somewhat lacked. If you live near one of these things, in any close proximity, within a few hundred feet, you're going to have a strong odor of marijuana continuously. Is there anything we can do further in the ordinance to ensure that they have more stringent odor control?
Mr. Chair, Commission, that's something that we'd maybe have to look into on the statute that was passed and see what kind of authority that it gives the county to control. Currently, what we require is that they meet the state's requirements. The one thing that it has given us authority to do is to control which zone it goes into. So that's something that we specify in our ordinance, is which zone we would allow for these facilities. It would take we can continue it and do some research and get back to you if you'd like. The one issue with that, I believe, is that I think the state licensing starts this month for these facilities, and that's why we're bringing it to you today, so that we can get into compliance with the new regulations that are in place.
Yes. Well, my reading of the statutes allows the county to consider things like that in their regulations, and that can be by separate instrument, if you would, regulation.
We do currently have a industrial performance standards in our ordinance that could possibly qualify to in these facilities as well. We do regulate odor and noise in that ordinance. We could do some research to see if that would apply to these properties as well.
And it's not necessarily the grow facilities as much as it is the processing facilities that go usually hand in hand, but because they don't transport it very far. Okay, thank you. Do I hear a motion?
I have a question. Is there a limit in any of these ordinances on how many of these we can have in our county?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Gillette, as far as our ordinance is concerned, we do not limit them, but the state issues licenses for these facilities, and that's a requirement by state. And they have a certain number that they will issue for each county or region, and it is limited.
Thank you.
Thank you. Again, I'm calling for a motion.
I'll make a motion for approval per staff recommendation.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Excuse me. Item number 4, monthly reports. Do we have any additional input from staff?
No, just, Chairman, the reports were sent out yesterday via email to the commission.
Any comments from the commissioners?
No.
No?
I would like to make a comment.
Okay.
I really appreciate the fact that you added the letter of opposition to our agenda. That was very handy. Could maybe we also perhaps get you to add the reports along with that?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, that would be great.
Okay, we're going to close item number 4. Item number 5, additional commissioner comments. Hearing none. Item number 6, call to the public. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to address the commission? Seeing none, we will ask for adjournment.
So moved.
Did we? Was there a housekeeping item we needed to take? There seems to be additional paperwork here that wasn't on the agenda.
Mr. Chair, we don't have any additional items or paperwork or comments.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
A motion second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? I guess we're going home. Thank you.
My computer is updating.